ICC 2014. Name the following. The part of the brain associated with memory, cerebrum. The ear ossicles that is attached to the tympanum, malleus. The type of gene which is in presence of a contrasting allele is not expressed, recessive gene. The hormone secreted by islet of Langerhans, glucagon. Alpha cells, insulin beta cells are somatostatin gamma cells বা delta cells, sorry, glucagon alpha cells, insulin beta cells, somatostatin, এটা মনে হচ্ছে স্পেলিংটা রং আছে সোম্যাটোস্ট্যাটিনের, delta cells. Next, the process of conversion of ADP into ATP during photosynthesis is called photophosphorylation. State the main function of cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid protects the central nervous system from mechanical injury. Eustachian tube connects the middle ear to the back of the throat. In vertebrates, it is normally closed, but during swallowing, it opens to allow air into the middle ear, which equalizes the air pressure on each side of eardrum. Suspensory ligaments hold the eye lens in correct position or place. Lenticels are raised pores in stems of woody plants that allow gaseous exchange between the atmosphere and the internal tissues of the stem. Next, sperm duct. Sperm duct or vas deferens carries sperms from the testes to outside the urethra. Ever fill in the blanks. The human female gonads are ovaries. A maturing egg in the present in a sac of cells is called follicle. As the egg grows larger, the follicle enlarges and gets filled with a fluid and is now called the Graafian follicle. The process of releasing the egg from the ovary is called ovulation. The ovum is picked up by the oviduct oviducal funnel and fertilization takes place in ampulla or oviduct or fallopian tube. In about a week, the blastocyst gets fixed in the endometrium of the uterus and the process is called implantation. Find the odd one out. Calyx, corolla, stamens, midrib. Odd one is midrib because rest of the things are parts of flower. Next, hemoglobin, glucagon, iodopsin, rhodopsin. Odd one out is glucagon because the rest are pigments. Urethra, uterus, urinary bladder, ureter. Odd one out is uterus because the rest are parts of excretory system. Next, transpiration, photosynthesis, phagocytosis, guttation. The odd one out is phagocytosis because the rest of the things are processes in plants. Next, cyton, photon, axon, dendron. The odd one out is photon because the rest of the things are parts of neuron. Oxytocin, insulin, prolactin, progesterone. Odd one out is insulin because hormone rest are hormones secreted in female humans. Next question. In the figure given below represents an experimental setup with a weighing machine to demonstrate a particular process in plants. The experimental setup was placed in bright sunlight. Study the diagram and answer the questions that follow. Name the process initiated for study. Transpiration. Define the above mentioned process. Transpiration is the loss of water in the form of water vapor through aerial parts of the plant. Next, When the weight of the test tube A and B is taken before and after the experiment, what is observed? Give reasons to justify your observation in A and B. The weight of the test tube A was reduced while the weight of test tube B was unchanged. It is because the plant in test tube A transpired water through its leaves. As a result, the weight of test tube A is reduced. But there was no plant in test tube B. Test tube A loses weight while test tube B remains unchanged. Loss of weight in test tube A is due to the transpiration taking place, while test tube B does not have loss of water. Next question: what is the purpose of keeping your test tube B in experimental setup? Test tube B acts as a control setup. Next, match the following: pituitary gland, growth hormone, sulfur dioxide, acid rain, seminiferous tubules, palms, clotting of blood, calcium, guttation, hydathodes. Fill in the blanks. Cretinism and myxoedema are due to hyposecretion of thyroxine. The action that is not a natural reflex action, salivation at the site of food. After mitotic cell division, a female human cell will have 44 plus X chromosomes. The antibiotic penicillin is obtained from fungus. The site of maturation of sperms is epididymis. State the exact location of tricuspid valve in between the right ventricle and right auricle. Amnion around the developing embryo. Yellow spot at the optical axis in retina. Seminal vesicle present behind the urinary bladder in males. Adrenal gland on the top of kidneys. Section B. Question number 2. Differentiate between the following pairs: spinal nerves and cranial nerves. Spinal nerves 31 pairs, cranial nerve 12 pairs. Spinal nerve lanes to thickened or curved. Cranial nerve lanes is too thin or flat. Spinal nerve near vision, cranial nerve distant vision. Spinal nerve corpus callosum connect the left and right hemisphere. Sorry, spinal nerve or cranial nerve difference 31 pairs, 12 pairs. Near vision or distant vision difference: length too thickened or curved, distant vision lens too thin or flat. Corpus callosum connects the left and right hemisphere of the brain. Corpus luteum secrete the female hormone progesterone. Tarjar pressure exerted by the cell contents on the cell wall. Wall pressure exerted by the cell wall on the contents of the cell. Disinfectant, a strong chemical substance which is used to kill the germs from places where they thrive and multiply. Antiseptic, a mild chemical substance when applied on the external surface of the body kills or prevents the growth and reproduction of various diseases causing germs. Target pressure, wall pressure এর difference. Target pressure হচ্ছে pressure exerted by the cell contents on the cell wall. Wall pressure হচ্ছে pressure exerted by the cell wall on the contents of the cell. Next, the diagram represents the simplified pathway of circulation of blood. Name the blood vessels level 1 and 2. Superior vena cava, blood vessel 1 and 2 is aorta. State the function of blood vessels level 5 and 8. Blood vessel 5 is hepatic artery and it delivers oxygenated blood to the liver. Blood vessel 8 is inferior vena cava which conveys deoxygenated blood from lower part of the body to the heart. What is the importance of blood vessel level 6? Blood vessel 6 is hepatic portal vein that takes food laden blood from the intestine to liver. Which blood vessel will contain a high amount of glucose and amino acid after meal? Blood vessel 6 is hepatic portal vein that takes food laden blood from intestine to liver. And which blood vessel will contain high amount of glucose and amino acids after meal? Hepatic portal vein will contain a high amount of glucose and amino acids after a meal. Next, draw a diagram of different blood vessels as seen in a smear of human blood. Blood vessels seen in smear of human blood: platelets, WBC, RBC, liquid. A candidate, in order to study the process of osmosis, has taken three potato cubes and put them in three different beakers containing three different solutions. After 24 hours, in the first beaker, the potato cube increased in size. In the second beaker, the potato cube decreased in size. In the third beaker, there was no change in the size of the potato cube. The following diagram shows the result of the same experiment. Give the technical terms of the solution used in beaker 1, 2 and 3. Beaker 1 solution is hypotonic solution. Beaker 2 solution is hypertonic solution. Beaker 3 solution is isotonic. In beaker 3, the size of potato cube remains the same as concentration of cell sap and that of solution is the same. Hence, no osmosis takes place. Cell sap of the root hair is of higher concentration than that of the solution outside. As a result, endosmosis takes place, resulting in absorption of water. Next, what is osmosis? Osmosis is the diffusion of water molecules through a semi-permeable membrane from a region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. How does a cell wall and a cell membrane differ in permeability? Cell wall is freely permeable and allows substances to pass across it freely, while cell membrane is semi-permeable. Cell wall is freely permeable and allows substances to pass across it freely, while cell membrane is semi-permeable and allows only the solvent molecules to pass across it. Next question. A potted plant was taken in order to prove a factor necessary for photosynthesis. The potted plant was kept in dark for 24 hours. One of the leaves was covered with black paper in the center. The potted plant was then placed in sunlight for a few hours. What aspect of photosynthesis was being tested? Light is necessary for photosynthesis. Why was the plant placed in the dark before beginning the experiment? In order to remove the starch present, that is de-starching. During the starch test, why was the leaf boiled in water and boiled in methylated spirit? The leaf was boiled in water to kill the cells and then boiled in methylated spirit to remove the chlorophyll. Next, draw a neat level diagram of a write a balanced chemical equation to represent the process of photosynthesis. 6 CO2 plus 12 H2O gives C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. Draw a neat level diagram of the chloroplast and level its parts. Chloroplast, thylakoids, flattened sacs, granum, pile of thylakoids, lamella, স্ট্রোমাটা হচ্ছে গ্রাউন্ড ফ্লুইড, গ্রানামটা হচ্ছে পাইল অফ থাইলাকয়েডস, থাইলাকয়েডস হচ্ছে ফ্ল্যাটেন্ড স্যাক, ল্যামিলা আর স্ট্রোমা হচ্ছে গ্রাউন্ড ফ্লুইড. Next question. The diagram given below is a representation of certain phenomena pertaining to nervous system. Study the diagram and answer the following questions. Name the phenomena that is being depicted. Phenomena taking place is reflex action. Give the technical term for the point of contact between the two nerve cells. Point of contact between the two nerve cells is synapse. চারটে পার্ট হচ্ছে সেন্সরি নার্ভ, dorsal ganglion, white matter, gray matter. Sensory nerve, dorsal ganglion, white matter, gray matter. Part 4 is interneuron and it conducts signal between nerve cells. It acts as a middleman between the sensory and motor nerves. Keep part 5 is interneuron. It conducts signal between nerve cells. It acts as a middleman between the sensory and motor nerves. Part 6 is motor nerve, which receives signal from central nervous system. Next, in the spinal cord, the cyton lies towards the entire center and the axon towards the periphery, while in the brain, the arrangement is just the opposite. Next question. Give scientific reasons for the following statements. Use of CFC is banned in many countries. CFC is responsible for depletion of ozone layer and is responsible for causing the ozone hole. Hence, it is banned in many countries. We cannot distinguish colors in moonlight. In dim light, moonlight, rod cells are distributed throughout the retina. They do not respond to color. Hence, we cannot distinguish colors in moonlight. Next, balsam plants wilt during midday even if soil is well watered. During midday, the rate of transpiration exceeds the rate of absorption. Hence, the cells become flaccid and subsequent wilting occurs. And next, carbon monoxide is highly dangerous when inhaled. When inhaled, carbon monoxide combines with hemoglobin of blood to form stable compound carboxyhemoglobin. Hence, hemoglobin is unable to carry oxygen to the cells, which can lead to death of cells. When inhaled, carbon monoxide combines with hemoglobin of the blood to form stable compound carboxyhemoglobin. Hemoglobin is unable to carry oxygen to the cells, which can lead to the death of cells. Next, alcohol affects the cerebellum, responsible for controlling equilibrium of the body by coordination of the muscle. Hence, a person consuming alcohol walks clumsily. এবার একটা diagram. Is it a plant cell or animal cell? Give reason to support your answer. It is a plant cell because cell wall is present and centrioles are absent. Nuclear membranes are disappearing. Identify the stage shown. The stage given here is early metaphase. Name the stage that follows the one shown here. How is that stage identified? The stage given here is early metaphase. The next stage will be late metaphase, in which the chromosomes will arrange. In the late metaphase, chromosomes will arrange themselves in middle at the equational plane as shown in the figure. Next, how will you differentiate between mitosis and meiosis on the basis of chromosome number in daughter cells? In mitosis, the daughter cells have the same number of chromosomes as that of parent cell, but in meiosis, the chromosome number in daughter cells is reduced to half of the parent cell. Next, এবার একটা ছবি এঁকেছে। ড্র দ্য ডুপ্লিকেটেড ক্রোমোজোম অ্যান্ড লেভেল ইটস পার্টস। একটা ঝুঁটির মতো ছবি, সেন্ট্রোমিয়ার, ক্রোম্যাটিডস, ক্রোমোজোম এইসব করে ছবি এঁকেছে। নেম দ্য ডিজিজ ফর হুইচ দ্য ফলোয়িং টাইপ অফ ভ্যাকসিনস আর গিভেন। স্যালক ভ্যাকসিন, বিসিজি। স্যালক ভ্যাকসিন আর বিসিজি কেন দেওয়া হয়? স্যালক ভ্যাকসিন ইজ গিভেন ফর poliomyelitis while BCG is given for tuberculosis. Salk vaccine is given for poliomyelitis while BCG is given for tuberculosis. A water pollutant, which is a detergent, an aquatic plant used to demonstrate oxygen is given out during photosynthesis, hydrilla. An aquatic plant used to demonstrate oxygen is given out during photosynthesis, hydrilla. An antibiotic K, penicillin, a nitrogenous base in DNA K, adenine. এবার expand the following biological abbreviations: ATP, adenosine triphosphate; TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone; DPT, diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus; DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid; diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus. Next, the given diagram represents a nephron and its blood supply. Study the diagram, answer the following questions. Label the parts 1, 2, 3, 4. Part 1, collecting duct. Collecting duct. Part 2, proximal convoluted tubule. Part 3, loop of Hindley. Part 4, Bowman's capsule. State the reason for the high hydrostatic pressure in glomerulus. The afferent arteriole bringing blood into the glomerulus is larger than the efferent arteriole taking blood away from the glomerulus. This creates a high hydrostatic pressure in glomerulus. Name the blood vessel which contains the least amount of urea in the diagram. The afferent arteriole contains least amount of urea. Name the two main stages of urine formation. The two main stages in the formation of urine are ultrafiltration and reabsorption. Next, name the part of nephron which lies in renal medulla. Part of nephron lying in renal medulla is the loop of Hindley. Briefly explain the following terms. Monohybrid cross, a cross between two parents representing contrasting forms of a single characteristic. Biomedical waste generated from the hospitals and nursing homes, which include used needles, syringes, dirty dressings, discarded biological research materials, unused discarded medical tablets and powders. Next, innate immunity key. Innate immunity, this is the immunity which an organism possesses by virtue of genetic makeup. It is present naturally in the body without any external stimulation or previous infection. Next question, diapedesis. The process by which leukocytes squeeze out of the capillaries to engulf bacteria is called diapedesis. Hormones, the secretion made by glands in very less amount that are poured into the blood to carry them to the target organs. Question number 7. State any two harmful effects of noise pollution. Sleep disturbance. Too much loud noise can even lead to deafness. You are categorize the following activities as per the functions of Red Cross and WHO to adjust quarantine measures to prevent spread of diseases. Eta WHO to suggest quarantine measures to prevent the spread of diseases. Eta WHO করে আর humanitarian services to victims of war. Eta Red Cross করে. Next question, to educate people in accident prevention, Red Cross. To promote projects for research on diseases, WHO. Write any two major reasons for the population explosion in India. Reasons for population explosion in India: illiteracy, traditional beliefs that children are gifts of God, advancement in science, healthcare, and technology. Mention Mendel's law of segregation. When a pair of alleles is brought together in a hybrid, the number of allelic pair remain together without mixing and separate or segregate from each other during gamete formation. When a pair of allele is brought together in a hybrid, the number of allelic pair remain together without mixing and separate or segregate from each other during gamete formation. Give technical terms for the following: a method of contraception in which the sperm duct is cut and ligated, vasectomy; statistical study of human population, demography; the protective covering of heart, pericardium; a sudden heritable change in the gene, mutation; repeated units of DNA molecules, chromosomes; the fluid portion of the blood, plasma; the nerve that transmits impulses from ear to brain, auditory nerve; group of hormones which influence other endocrine glands to produce hormones, tropic hormones; thin walled sac of skin that covers the testes, scrotal sac; the permanent stoppage of menstrual cycle in a woman aged 50 years, menopause. ICSE 2013. Name the following: the cell body of a nerve cell, cyton; the waxy layer on the epidermis of the leaf meant to reduce transpiration, cuticle; a non biodegradable pesticide, DDT; the physical expression of genes in an individual, phenotype; not like mass of blood capillaries inside Bowman's capsule, glomerulus. State the exact location of the following: chloroplast in mesophyll cells of plants; incas in between melias and stapes; bony ossicles in middle ear of humans; incas in between the melias and stapes; bony ossicles in middle ear of humans; corpus callosum is found in between the two cerebral hemisphere of cerebrum; guard cells in the wall bordering the pore of stomatal aperture; in the wall bordering the pore of stomatal aperture, guard cell in the wall bordering the pore of stomatal aperture. এবার pulmonary semilunar valve at opening of the right ventricle into the pulmonary artery, at opening of the right ventricle into the pulmonary artery. Find the odd one out and name the category to which the remaining three belong to. Fructose, sucrose, glucose, calcium. Odd term calcium. Category carbohydrates. Carbonic acid, acetic acid, benzoic acid, boric acid. Odd one out is acetic acid. Category antiseptics. Saliva, bile, sweat, tears. Odd one out is bile. Category chemical barriers or germ killing secretions. Cretinism, myxoedema, simple goiter, acromegaly. Odd one out is acromegaly. Category thyroid gland malfunction. Sneezing, coughing, blinking, typing. Typing is the odd one out. Category unconditioned reflex actions. Next, semicircular canals, cochlea, tympanum, utriculus. Odd one out is tympanum. Category parts of inner ear. Match the following: testes, gonads, poliomyelitis, Salk's vaccine, transpiration, water vapor, clotting of blood, calcium, uniferous tubule, kidney. The cell component visible only during cell division, chromosomes. Pulse wave is mainly caused by systole of left ventricle. The recessive gene is one that expresses itself in homozygous condition. A gland which secretes both hormone and enzyme is the pancreas. The recessive gene is one that expresses itself in homozygous condition. Pulse wave is mainly caused by the systole of left ventricle. The cell component visible only during cell division, chromosomes. A gland which secretes both hormone and enzyme is the pancreas. The central root ganglion of spinal cord contains cell bodies of the motor neuron. The central root ganglion of the spinal cord contains cell bodies of the motor neuron. Write the functions of the following. Neutrophils respond to infection inside the body. Ureter pass or propel urine from kidneys to urinary bladder. Neurotransmitters kiki allow the transmission of signal from one neuron to the next across synapses. Allow the transmission of signals from one neuron to the next across synapses. Iris controlling the diameter and size of pupil and this and thus the amount of light to the retina. Controlling diameter and size of pupil and thus the amount of light to the retina. Placenta connects the developing fetus to the uterine wall to allow nutrients uptake, waste elimination, and gaseous exchange via mother's blood supply. Connects the developing fetus to the uterine wall to allow nutrients uptake, waste elimination, and gaseous exchange via mother's blood supply. What is the aim of the experiment? To show that carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis. এটা বলছে the figure given below represent an experiment to demonstrate a particular aspect of photosynthesis. Alphabet A represents a certain condition inside the flask. What is the aim of the experiment? To show that carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis. Identify the special condition inside the flask. Potassium hydroxide is placed inside the flask to absorb carbon dioxide. Next, name an alternative chemical that can be used instead of KOH. Sodium hydroxide can be used instead of KOH. Next question. In what manner do the leaves 1 and 2 differ at the end of starch test? At the end of starch test, leaf 1 remains unstained while leaf 2 turns blue-black in color, showing the positive taste of starch. That is, photosynthesis took place in leaf 2. Next question. Given below are 5 groups of terms in each group, arrange the and rewrite the terms in correct order so as to be a logical sequence. Implantation, parturition, ovulation, gestation, fertilization. Answer: ovulation, fertilization, implantation, gestation, parturition. Ovulation, fertilization, implantation, gestation, parturition. Next, uh, in each group arrange and rewrite the terms in correct order to be in logical sequence. Uh, Number 1, upper epidermis, palisade tissue, spongy cells, substomatal space, stoma, upper epidermis, palisade tissue, spongy cells, substomatal space, stoma. Next question. Receptor, sensory neuron, spinal cord, motor neuron, effector. Receptor, sensory neuron, spinal cord, motor neuron, effector. Next, soil water, root hair, cortex, endodermis, xylem. Soil water, root hair, cortex, endodermis, xylem. Next, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, cytokinesis. Next, intestinal artery, intestine, hepatic portal vein, liver, hepatic vein. Intestinal artery, intestine, hepatic portal vein, liver, hepatic vein. Next, given below is the diagram of lateral section of testes of man. Study the same and answer the questions that follow. Label the parts numbered 1 to 4 of the diagram. 1 is seminiferous tubules, 2 is lobule, 3 is epididymis, 4 is vas deferens. এবার state the functions of the parts level 1 to 3. Seminiferous tubules produce spermatozoa. Epididymis serves as a temporary storage site for spermatozoa. The testes lie outside the abdominal cavity since the production of spermatozoa is feasible at a temperature of 2 degrees lower than the body temperature. The testes lie outside the abdominal cavity since the production of spermatozoa is feasible at a temperature of 2 degrees centigrade lower than body temperature. In males, give us difference in male it allows structures of spermatic cord to pass to and form the testes to the abdomen. In females it allows the passage of round ligaments of uterus from uterus to কি লিবিয়াম লিবিয়াম না ল্যাবিয়াম. It also transmits the il ilioingual nerve, ilioingual, ilioingual nerve, ILIOINGUINAL. কিছু মনে হচ্ছে বানানো ভুল আছে ইন বোথ মেল অ্যান্ড ফিমেল. Vas deferens এটা function. In males, it allows structure of spermatic cord to pass to and form testes to the abdomen. In females, it allows the passage of round ligaments of uterus from uterus to labium. It also transmits the ilioinguinal nerve in both male and female. Next, what is semen? Semen is slightly alkaline fluid containing sperms and various secretions that are produced by the male mammal. Basically, it contains citrate, ascorbic acid, acidic phosphatase, fructose, and prostaglandins. Semen is slightly alkaline fluid containing sperms and various secretions that are produced by a male mammal. Basically, it contains citrate, ascorbic acid, acetic phosphatase, that is enzyme, fructose, and prostaglandins, মানে hormone. Next, biological or technical terms for the following: chemicals found in blood which act against antigens, antibodies, that is immunoglobulin, a constituent that causes pollution, pollutants. Structure: the onset of menstruation in young girl, menarche. Structure which connects the placenta with fetus, umbilical cord. The fluid present between layers of meninges, cerebrospinal fluid. The permanent Permanently open structure seen on bark of an old woody stem. Lenticels, the biological process which is the starting point of food chain. Photosynthesis, the change in an organism resulting due to stimulus, condition reflex. The antiseptic substance present in tears, lysosome, a solution in which relative concentration of water molecules and solute in either side of cell membrane is same, isotonic solution. Next question. Draw a diagram of human eye as seen in vertical section and label the parts which suits to following descriptions relating to photosensitive layer of the eye. পুরো আইটা এঁকেছে কর্নিয়া অ্যাকুয়াস চেম্বার সাসপেন্সারি লিগামেন্ট স্কেলার রেটিনা structure which is responsible for holding eye lens in its position. হ্যাঁ কি ফটোসেন্সিটিভ লেয়ার অফ আই হচ্ছে ফোটোলিসিস ফটোসেন্সিটিভ লেয়ার অফ আই বোধহয় ফোটোলিসিস a chemical reaction produced by exposure to light এই ফটোলিসিসটা the decomposition of water using energy from sunlight absorbed by chlorophyll produces gaseous oxygen hydrogen ions and electrons. Next, structure which is responsible for holding the eye lens in its position. না না এগুলো সবই ভুল হচ্ছে ফটোসেন্সিটিভ লেয়ার অফ আই হচ্ছে রেটিনা structure which is responsible for holding the eye lens in its position হচ্ছে suspensory ligaments এটা কোয়েশ্চেনটা এইভাবে দিয়েছে ড্র আর ডায়াগ্রাম অফ হিউম্যান আই as seen in a vertical section and label the parts which suits to the following descriptions relating to the photosensitive layer of the eye কি retina structure which is responsible for holding the eye lens in its position suspensory ligaments structure which contains the shape of eyeball and the area of no vision sclera anterior chamber seen in front of eye lens aqueous humor outermost transparent layer seen in front of eyeball cornea তাহলে photosensitive layer of eye retina structure which is responsible for holding the eye lens in its position suspensory ligaments এই পয়েন্টগুলো কিন্তু মুখস্থ করতে হবে এগুলো অন্য ফর্মেও আসতে পারে structure which maintains the shape of the eyeball and area of no vision sclera anterior chamber seen in front of the eye lens aqueous humor outermost transparent layer seen in front of the eyeball cornea. Next question. Differentiate between the following pairs on the basis of what is mentioned in the brackets. Photolysis and photophosphorylation. Definition দুটোর. Photolysis, a chemical reaction produced by exposure to light. The decomposition of water using energy from sunlight absorbed by chlorophyll produces gaseous oxygen, hydrogen ions and electrons. Photophosphorylation key is the process of formation of energy rich compound ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate utilizing light energy. Bicuspid valve, it guards the opening between the left auricle and left ventricle. Tricuspid valve, it guards the opening between right auricle and right ventricle. এবার vasectomy. It is a method of birth control or family planning for males. In males, a small cut is made in the scrotum. Vast difference মানে sperm duct is ligated and a small piece between the two ligatures is removed. Vasectomy is a method of birth control or family planning for males. In males, a small cut is made in the scrotum. Vas deferens is ligated and small piece between the two ligatures is removed. About tubectomy, it is a method of family planning for females. In females, the fallopian tubes, mane oviducts are ligated, that is tied with silk or catgut, tied with silk or catgut thread, catgut thread to close the passage of eggs. In cerebrum, the nerve fibers have an outer cortex made of gray matter while the white matter is located centrally. In cerebrum, the nerve fibers have an outer cortex made of gray matter while the white matter is located centrally. In spinal cord, the nerve fibers have gray matter located centrally surrounded by white matter. এবার Bowman's capsule, it is rounded cup-shaped body. Malpighian capsule, the Malpighian capsule and the glomerulus together are called Malpighian capsule. The Bowman's capsule and glomerulus together are called Malpighian capsule. Given below is a schematic diagram showing Mendel's experiment on sweet pea plants having axial flowers with round seeds. Capital A, capital A, capital R, capital R, and terminal flowers with wrinkled seeds. Study the same and answer the questions that follow. Give the phenotype of F1 progeny. F1 progeny phenotype is axial round. Give the phenotype of F2 progeny produced upon by cell pollination of F1 progeny. F2 progeny হচ্ছে axial round, axial wrinkled, terminal round, terminal wrinkled. Phenotypic ratio of F2 progeny হচ্ছে 9:3:3:1. Axial round হচ্ছে axial wrinkled, terminal round, terminal wrinkled. এবার ল অফ ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট অ্যাসর্টমেন্ট কি? when more than one pair of contrasting characters are brought together in an individual, the entry of one pair of alleles separate independently and assorts independently of any other pair of alleles. When more than one pair of contrasting characters are brought together in an individual, the entry of one pair of alleles separates independently and assorts independently of any other pair of alleles. Complete the following table by filling the blanks from 1 to 10 with appropriate terms. Thyroid gland, thyroxine. Secretion, thyroxine. Function, promotes tissue metabolism, growth and differentiation. এবার গ্ল্যান্ডটার নাম পিটুইটারি গ্ল্যান্ড। সিক্রেশন হচ্ছে ভ্যাসোপ্রেসিন। ফাংশন, মেনটেন্স দ্য কনসেন্ট্রেশন অফ বডি ফ্লুইডস। গ্ল্যান্ডটার নাম প্যাঙ্ক্রিয়াস অর ইন বিটা সেলস। সিক্রেশন হচ্ছে ইনসুলিন। ফাংশন হচ্ছে প্রমোটস গ্লুকোজ ইনিশিয়ালাইজেশন বাই বডি সেলস। গ্ল্যান্ডটার নাম ল্যাক্রিমাল গ্ল্যান্ড। সিক্রেশন লাইজোজাইম। ফাংশন হচ্ছে ওয়াশ অ্যাওয়ে দ্য ডাস্ট পার্টিকলস অ্যান্ড অ্যাক্ট অ্যাজ অ্যান্টিসেপটিক সাবস্টেন্স ফর আইস। অ্যাড্রিনাল মেডিউলা, গ্ল্যান্ডটার নাম। সিক্রেশন অ্যাড্রেনালিন। ফাংশন prepares body for an emergency, causes stimulation of sympathetic nervous system. The diagram given below represents the human heart in one phase of its functional activities. Study the same and answer the questions that follow. Name the phase ventricular diastole. Label the parts 1 to 3. Pulmonary artery, superior vena cava, aorta, 1 to 3 parts. Which part of the heart is contracting in this phase? Give a reason to support your answer. Axial contraction takes place during ventricular systole. The blood passively flows from pulmonary veins into left atrium and then left ventricle through the open mitral valve. The biological reasons for the following: the wall of ventricle is thicker than auricles. এটা reason কি? The wall of ventricle is thicker than auricles because it enables the ventricles to pump blood to long distances to major part of our body so that ventricles can withstand intense pressure by the heart. The wall of ventricle is thicker than auricles because it enables the ventricles to push blood. এটা পিটা দেখা যাচ্ছে, বাকিটা কিন্তু দেখা যাচ্ছে না। এটা আমি আমার আন্দাজে বলছি, পুশ ব্লাড টু লং ডিস্টেন্সেস বা পাম্প ব্লাড টু লং ডিস্টেন্সেস টু মেজর পার্ট অফ আওয়ার বডি so that ventricles can withstand intense pressure by the heart. Next question. The renal cortex has a dotted appearance. The Bowman capsule and proximal convoluted tubule lie in cortex and give it a dotted appearance. Number 3. Wooden frames of doors get jammed during monsoon season. Why? During monsoon, the wooden doors or frames absorb moisture and swell up. This makes it difficult to close or and they get jammed. এটা কোয়েশ্চেনটা কি ছিল? দি রিনাল কর্টেক্স হ্যাজ আ ডটেড অ্যাপিয়ারেন্স। কেন? দ্য বাউম্যানস ক্যাপসুল অ্যান্ড প্রক্সিমাল কনভলিউটেড পার্ট লাই ইন দ্য কর্টেক্স অ্যান্ড গিভ ইট আ কি ডি দিয়ে কি অ্যাপিয়ারেন্স। Next, throat infections can lead to ear infections. Our throat and ear share some of the same nerves. The infection in throat can cause eustachian tube to become temporarily infected and cause pain. The hand automatically shows the direction to turn a cycle without thinking. Cycling is a conditioned reflex in which we learn by practicing. It is controlled by the cervical cortex. So our hand automatically shows the direction to turn without thinking. Tunica medica, tunica interna, tunica externa, তিনটে আছে arterial lumene. Tunica media, tunica interna, tunica externa, lumen vein. একটায় arterial vein আর একটায় luminar vein. Next question. The figure given below shows the epidermal cells of an onion bulb. The cell was then transfused to a drop of sugar solution. Draw a level diagram onion bulb protector. Draw a well-labeled diagram of the epidermal cell as it would appear after immersed in a strong sugar solution. একটা ছবি আঁকা হলো লেবেল ডায়াগ্রাম অফ এপিডার্মাল সেল as it would appear after immersed in a strong sugar solution. Diagram আঁকলো। এবার what scientific term is used for the changes as shown in above? Plasmolysis. Plasmolysis used for the changes. What should be done to restore the cell back to its original position? Deplasmolysis করতে হবে, আর it should be put in water to restore its original position. Should be put in water to restore its original position. What should be, আচ্ছা, give the scientific term for the recovery of the cell as a result of step taken, মানে জলে ডোবাবার পর কি হলো, সায়েন্টিফিক টার্মটা কি ব্যবহার হবে? ওটা হচ্ছে ডিপ্লাসমোলিসিস। নেক্সট, define the term osmosis. Osmosis is the net movement of water molecules from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Briefly explain the following terms. Gene. Gene is a linear segment of DNA which is responsible for inheritance of a character from parents to offspring. There are two genes for every character. In plant cells, a cell formation begins at the center of cytoplasm with gradual deposition of cellulosic material. The cell plate begins in the center and proceeds towards the cell wall. This type of cytokinesis is called centrifugal. The process of water loss through special marginal structures, hydatodes in some herbaceous plants, is called guttation. It can be seen when the root pressure is high and transpiration is low. Deficiency of ADH, antidiuretic hormone. Vasopressin leads to frequent and copious urination causing excessive thirst. It is called diabetes insipidus. No glucose is lost in the urine of such patients. About disinfectants are strong chemicals which destroy microbes on the floor, corners, surgical instruments, hospitals and toilets. This should never be applied on body as they are highly corrosive in nature. Phenol, carbolic acid, lime and Borbidox mixture are good disinfectants. Draw a label diagram to show the anaphase stage of mitosis in plant cell having four chromosomes. একটা diagram আঁকলো set two harmful effects of acid rain. Impact on trees. Acids in soil can undergo chemical changes and release toxic materials in forms that can be absorbed by plants. The plants can be damaged or destroyed. Acid in soil can undergo chemical changes and release toxic materials in forms that can be absorbed by plants. The plants may be damaged or destroyed. Ever impact on buildings and monuments. Acid rain is corrosive. It has a corroding effect on buildings, monuments, and other metal and rock structures. Ever expand the following biological abbreviations: NADP, nicotinamide, adenine, uh, dinucleotide phosphate, are adrenocorticotropic hormone ACTH. List any two activities of Red Cross. Red Cross provides reliefs and helps the victims of calamities such as flood, earthquake, famine, fire, etc. Red Cross gives first aid to all the wounded soldiers during war. Write any two reasons for the population explosion. Illiteracy. A large size of population belongs to rural community. They are mostly illiterate. Many of them do not know the consequences of having a large family. আর কি কারণে religious beliefs. Still now, people believe that children are gift of God. Write the names of four nitrogenous bases in a DNA molecule. A DNA molecule consists of purines and pyrimides. Purines and pyrimidines. Purines মানে adenine and guanine, pyrimidines মানে cytosine and thymine.